I'm your host on today's Q&A session on our Touch Pro Express program for associations. I'd like to welcome everybody to this broadcast. We're doing this broadcast from our headquarters here in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the expressed purpose of having you have an opportunity to have any questions you may have regarding our apps for your industry. This is an interactive broadcast. You can interact with us simply by chatting in the box below. So please let me know if you have any questions as we go through this. We're going to give people a couple of minutes to tune in. We're right at the top of the hour. Again, this is the Q&A session, the Q&A broadcast for our Touch Pro Express for Associations broadcast. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the broadcast. Here we go. We have people logging in. Okay, the way this works, if you're new to this type of presentation, this is interactive. You can actually type in the box below, and that will allow me to see any questions you may have, if any, and only I see those questions. So there's no pressure of you raising your hand in front of a crowded classroom. We try to make this as easy and as painless and as productive as possible. So we're going to give everybody about another minute to get all tuned in and ready. I do encourage you to take notes as we go along. This is going to be a very simple broadcast, not complicated at all, but we may touch on some things that are new to you, or we might touch on some things in such a way that you generate your own unique perspective, or your own unique insight. And we do not want that moment to come and go and you not take advantage of it. So we highly encourage you to take some notes as we go through some of the ideas revolving the shift to mobile, what that can mean to, what that is meaning to industry in general, and what that might mean to you specifically. We're going to spend the majority of our time just highlighting and detailing some of the ways that you can leverage our mobile app on the behalf of your association. So I'd like to welcome you to this broadcast. The person that invited you to this broadcast has quite an arsenal, if you will, of resources available to help you get any questions you might have answered. But we wanted to make the real live and real-time opportunity available. One is just so you could hear it explained possibly from a different angle or maybe a different light, but two, so that if there were critical things you had on your mind, we might be able to address those right now and in real time. My name is Earl Mann. I'm actually CEO here at Combat 5. And I see people logging in and saying hello. Welcome everybody to the broadcast. We're going to go ahead and get started. We are going to also record this to make this available for later viewing at your leisure, or you may want to pass this link along to other people on your team, or maybe even other people you know that might benefit from either just the information we share, or maybe even the tool set we're going to talk about today. So we're going to ease into this just a little on our company here at Combat 5. Combat 5 is a digital tools provider to small businesses and professionals. We've been at this business for well over a decade. We are pioneers in certain areas. We were one of the first companies to host and stream video on the internet. We did that long before companies even like MySpace, if you remember that company, made a big significant splash. We were providing the mechanisms for people to use video to thousands of people well before that. We also were very, very early operators in the areas of digital marketing. And if you go back a decade or so ago, the predominant technology, still pretty much is a dominating technology, but back then by far the dominant technology in terms of digital communication was email, and we became an email service provider. We actually provided small businesses and individuals with a marketing system based around email, basically an email marketing service. And as the industry started to evolve over time and the message started to be broadened beyond the written word to include rich media, images, photos, video, audio, so we evolved as well, and we became one of the early and predominant providers of video communication tools, or rich media-based communication tools as well. All of this we continue to base on our core platform of communication, ease of use communication. So as the industries continue to evolve, and we bring ourselves forward into the last handful of years, especially the last 5 years, more recently the last 2 years, we've seen another dramatic shift. So. And that's the shift to mobile. So, and it's a significant shift, quite significant. So if you can remember back a decade and a half ago, when the internet was really starting to take hold, and small businesses were really starting to consider going online, right? Because about 15 years ago, it was still a little speculative. They didn't quite understand how or if or why they would want to use the internet and how big it would be and what it would mean and if it was critical or just a nice to have. All those conversations was going on. And then suddenly it became self-evident. And what we mean by that is suddenly it became known by both all of business and all of the people that expected to do business, the buyers. They expected to see an online presence. And in a relatively short period of time, we saw a massive shift to online. We saw a massive shift of businesses and professionals go from having an offline presence to having an online presence. And we saw, industries and millions of activities take place to get all of those business online. Well, now, fast forward the calendar into modern time, we see the same type of shift happening now. The same in its significance, maybe even greater, and maybe even greater in its ultimate impact on business. And what we're talking about now is this shift to mobile. And this is the fundamental idea or understanding, if you will, you should really get your mind around before we move into the presentation, because this drives the value of everything we're going to talk about or demonstrate moving beyond this point. And there are two things I want you to get around this same idea of shifting to mobile. First, it's not a casual shift. It's not a voluntary shift. It's a forced shift. And what we mean by that is it's not really that optional for businesses to make the shift to mobile. And here are the reasons why. I'm going to just give you two reasons why. One, the buyers. The buyers themselves are mobile. And what we mean by that is mobile isn't necessarily just like maybe an option of the way they interact with information in businesses. It's the number one way they do it already today, and the shift hasn't even completed yet. So right now today, the number one way that people access the internet is through their mobile device, through their phones or through their tablets. So this is where the information seekers are. This is where the buyers are. This is where the people, the referrers are, the people that are referring services and businesses. And this is where all the testimonials are, the criticizing, the accolades. All of this is happening online, but the way that the majority of people are getting online to see all of these things is through their mobile device. That's driver number one. The second driver is the search engine companies themselves. The major search engine companies, realizing that first fact, realizing that when they bring back search results, the most common way that people are going to view those search results will be on the mobile device. So the search engine companies themselves are telling people that, hey, if you want to be indexed, if you want to show up in a Google result or a Yahoo result or a Bing result, then you need to make your website, your web presence mobile friendly. They're basically telling them they need to make the shift to mobile. So there are about 5 other major reasons why people are going to be compelled to move to mobile, but those two things alone should give you enough to understand a significant gravity, if you will, that's pulling all of business, all 20 million small businesses, including you, and all couple of 100 million potential buyers. Everybody is being pulled into this mobile environment. The rest of this presentation today is going to be helping you understand what we are excited about and what we've done as a company to help you take advantage of that shift. We're not accelerating that shift. We're not creating that shift. We're just going to leverage that shift. We're going to take advantage of that shift. That shift is happening right now, and it's already got too much momentum to be stopped or slowed down. It's just going to speed up. In fact, many of you, as you watch this broadcast today, have your phone within 5 feet of you right now, and it's a smartphone, and you already have mobile apps of some sort on that smartphone. So whether you really understand the significance of the shift to mobile in terms of business, the shift to mobile in terms of communication, the shift to mobile in terms of behavior at the individual level, you are already a part of that statistic. You are already one of the people being counted in the group of people that now have smartphones and that now look and share information on their smartphones. So giving all of that his short history, so given that deep, long, decade-plus history of interacting with small businesses and professionals in terms of marketing and communication, and evolving along with the market along the way, we realized that we needed to make the shift to mobile as well. We did it 2 years ago. So about a year and a half, or almost 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, we started really fine-tuning, repackaging our core competence, our understanding of the market. After all of these thousands of unique interactions we've had with individuals and businesses over the last decade plus, we realized that we had some really unclear understanding of how people could quickly and with a lot of results, quickly and with great result, leverage this know-how in a mobile app. So we started offering customized mobile apps to small businesses and professionals about a year and a half ago. And as we've done this, and if you want to get an example of some of the businesses we've served over that time period, you're going to see businesses from all over the board, all types of businesses. Just type our company name in your app store, and you're going to see a sample of some of our customers. You're not going to see all of our customers, but you see quite a few of them, a number of them, enough of them for you to get a good understanding that of the type of customers we serve, that we actually do serve customers. You're going to probably see close to 100 or more in there. But it's going to give you a good understanding that we are definitely in this business and we understand it clearly. Now here's what this broadcast today is all about, and why you should be excited to be invited on this broadcast, because this broadcast isn't for any business. This broadcast is only for a handful of businesses that we've identified, and this is what we've done. As we've gone through all of these interactions with businesses and professionals, we find that in certain industries, we really have a deep level of clarity in how to make these apps impactful extremely fast, and what they're going to need, even maybe more than they clearly understand it now, because of all of these unique interactions we've had over the last years. So what we decided to do as a company is to go ahead and pay it forward, to pre-develop in our app infrastructure, in our app platform, all of these features by industry, and tune it, high-tune it for specific industries that we know that we can quickly serve and quickly get up to speed and running, and kind of almost put the things in place they're going to need before they even show up and knock on our door. And that's what we've done. And that's called our Express program. Our Express program, Touch Pro apps is what we offer to the industry in general, but our Express program specifically is an offering for these unique industries where we've been able to pre-build and pre-think and pre-strategy and have all these things ready to go. Now, what we did not do is pass all of that pre-engineering cost on to you as a customer. The result of that is a very, very exciting discount. We're going to come back to that. Now, here is what the Express program does for you. We have a very unique process in terms of building your app. We just talked about it. Because we've done all of that pre-building, we paid it for it in such a big way that lots of the engineering, the development, the things that usually are very expensive and take a long time, we've already done most of that. So the large part of what we need to do is customize by look, feel, and configure in terms of feature sets and organize content and those type of things. So those are things we can do at a very rapid delivery rate. So because of that, our delivery on your mobile apps is just a couple of weeks from the time you say go, which is very powerful. So you get a very unique, proven process. You get to take advantage of all the things we've learned through serving all of those customers you see represented by our company in your app store, and you get to take advantage of all of that know-how, trial and error, when the times we've done it right and the times we've done it wrong. All of those learning process we went through over the last 15 years as we provided digital marketing tools to small businesses and professionals. You get to take advantage of us, of all of that know-how in the process of us building your app. In terms of features, we quickly cut on and develop the features that we know are going to be useful to you as an association. Now, today we're going to give you an example of what some of these features are. We're not going to go into detail on every feature. We have over 36 different features that are at your disposal that you're going to be able to take advantage of. But we just want to give you an idea of how capable, how robust the feature set is in this TouchPro Express app. And we want to do this before we tell you the cost, because if you just start off with the cost, you're going to completely underestimate what all you get and how powerful this app is. It's going to completely fool you, basically. So we want you to understand that you're getting a world-class product before we tell you the price, because when we tell you the price, you're going to not believe it. So the first thing, let me give you an example. of some of the feature sets. So we understand by dealing with membership-based organizations and groups and associations and even some chambers that, you know, the lifeblood of your business are your members, and the more value you can create in the minds of your membership, the more value you are actually creating as an organization. So a couple of things we allow you to do. One is we realize that there's a unique value not only in allowing your membership to understand where you are or where events that you highlight are located throughout your city or throughout the world, depending upon your reach. It's also very powerful for your members to understand where other member organizations are. So we can. This is part of a unique twist on the location service that's very popular in mobile apps. But when we use this in the context of an association from the perspective of a member, and now as I'm a member of your association, I can find out where you are if I'm new to the city or new to the country, part of the country, or I can find out where an event you have going on is, or I can find out where other members of this association are relative to where I am. Very powerful feature. We have the ability for you to send direct messages to all of your members. Now, this is a very powerful feature, and this is a feature unique to mobile apps. We're not talking about an email, and we're not talking about a text message, although we can also incorporate those two methods of communication into your app as well. But what we're talking about right now is called a push notification. A push notification is a direct line of communication between you, the app owner, and all of the people that download your app. Now, here's the unique, powerful thing about your ability to communicate via direct messaging. You can do it as a global communication. Hey, I want all of my members to know this thing right now, or you can do it by location. I want everybody in Chicago to get this message. I want everybody in Florida to get this message. You can even be more specific than that. I want everybody in this zip code to get this message. I want everybody in this other zip code to get this message. You can be more specific than that. I want everybody within 3 miles of this specific location to get this notification. So you can see how powerful this can be in terms of disseminating and sharing information amongst your membership. Now, the unique thing about the direct message is they do not have to be inside of their email to see it. They don't have to be, have their text messaging on to see it. In fact, they don't even need to be in your app, your mobile app, to get the direct message. They're going to get a direct notification to their phone that lets them know there's a new message from your app, and then they can just click on it to see the message. So direct messaging, push notifications, is a very popular feature across all of our industries. We talked a little bit about the value of sharing information about where members are, where you are, and possibly where events are. We all understand as a membership organization, a lot of the high value things that you do are related to events, either events you are sponsoring, promoting, putting on, or attending. So in any of those cases, we make it easy for you to have a place where people can, in a glance in your event section of your mobile app, quickly understand all the different events that you are part of and taking part in. And we also make it easy for all of those members to contact you very easily. It's just a push button away. We talk about the slight difference between our optimized apps for you as associations versus a generic app for, say, a pizza parlor or a restaurant or a spa or gym out there somewhere. We understand that as an association, lots of time you have many facets to your organizational mission, and we get that. So as opposed to having one general about us section that's very popular out there with game apps or individual company apps, we understand that as a membership organization, you may need to express yourself in a handful of different ways. You may want to talk about, and you really want to in detail talk about your express direction in a given area, and you may want to separately from that talk about your dedication to a different cause. But all of these are different facets of who you are. So we right off the bat configure your app to have multiple about us sections, and we encourage you to think in that manner. Another unique tuning of a very popular feature from our app platform is the ability for people that have your app to quickly leave an audio message. Now, in the world of associations, we find that this is a very novel and effective way for people to leave suggestions. Suggestions, there are a lot of ways that suggestions can serve you as a membership organization. One is you might get some really good ideas. And many businesses are starting to realize that the best ideas come from either their employees or the people they serve, their customers. But one of the deterrents or one of the inhibitors for really taking advantage of that or really getting that that recommendation machine working is the ease of making recommendations. Lots of times people have that unique insight in flow, and they don't have time to capture that and get back to you when the next time they're on email or next time they're online, et cetera. So what we make it really easy for people to do is click a button, talk their message to you, and they're done. Now, not only can you get the message quickly and in detail, because the easiest way for us to communicate as humans is through spoken language, but you can also hear the level of excitement. You can hear the unspoken elements of that communication as well. And lots of times that's going to give you an even better insight into the terms of what they're trying to articulate to you by giving you this suggestion. We talk about the ability for you to have a continual, sustainable way to add value to your membership. And one of those is by offering and making it available other related information. So if you're a membership organization around something around related to children, you may want to have certain keywords out there, look for certain types of news articles and or announcements that either your membership would need to know, learn from, or that would be in your benefit for people to understand that type of information. So we make it easy for you to publish this information inside of your app, kind of as your news source. One thing you're going to see consistent with our recommendation to you in terms of content, we have this idea we call contextual relevance. Contextual relevance, which means the context is relevant, the information becomes very relevant because of the context in which it's delivered. And what we mean by that is whether we're talking about news stories or in this case photos, because we understand how popular and impactful photos, even media can be these days. But when you put it in a unique, homogenized or a particular context, like all the videos are about X, all the photos are about X, that increases the value not only of the individual photo being a part of that larger set, but a part of the larger set being a part of your app. So, it's one thing for you to be passionate about the mission to children and for you to push a very moving photo out there on, Instagram or Pinterest or Facebook even, and for the open public to view. The problem, the challenge, or the reality of that, because the problem of the challenge is up to you to determine, but the reality of you doing that is that picture can be posted between, the frat party photo of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of yours. Like I connected you on a video, or some political statement of a friend of yours or a friend of yours on Facebook. We all know that that's how that world works. That might not be the thing that's in your best interest when trying to get a point across, trying to get a message across, trying to get a feeling across, trying to transfer your organizational emotion to the individual that's interacting with your organization at that time. So we highly encourage you to alter, if you see value in publishing any type of media outside of your controlled environment, we highly encourage you to also publish that media inside of your controlled environment. Just makes sense to us. Don't worry about the posting. One thing that's a little bit different between us and the open social media is the ability to control and manage. So the way that the submission process works is because people will submit a photo to you. You determine what's posted inside of your app, not them. They can submit to you all day long, but at the end of the day, you get the final call. One thing that's very simple but very valuable, if you really stop to think about it, is this incorporation of a note section inside of your mobile app. Now, there are dozens and dozens of great note-taking applications out there, and everybody has a pen and paper someplace handy, and the problem with doing notes just kind of in general is that all the notes, unless you're very organized as a person, and most people just aren't, everything gets blended in together. So, in the notes of an experience or maybe an event, maybe somebody's at one of your events that you're attending or sponsoring or participating in, and they're taking valuable notes. But if they're taking general notes, they're intertwining those general notes in with the reminder to pick the kids up from soccer practice and the reminder to stop by the grocery store and get some eggs on the way home. It just changes the context and the value of the note that they wrote down or the insight that they wrote down from your event. So We also encourage you to leverage this idea of contextual relevance in terms of note-taking. So, it's easy for people that when they're doing things related to the cause of your organization to put the notes and insights and ideas related to that cause in the notes in your application. Again, this idea of contextual relevance increases not only the value of your app by making that easy to do, but increases the value of the app to your member, because there are few things more valuable than something created by the person themselves. So their notes that they create, especially over time, exponentially increases the perception of the value of your app to them. They become a member of yours, and 3 years from now, when they have 3 years worth of notes in your app around the mission of your organization, your app has a very high degree of value to them. We also make it easy for you to, we talked about publishing, we make it easy for you to, anything that you're publishing on the net, you can also publish internally into your app. We understand the value of social interaction. You can have your own contextually relevant social interaction, now that you understand the part of that, the separateness and why that could be a value. You can do that inside of your mobile app, but we've also done major integrations with the major social networks, with Facebook and Twitter, YouTube channels, all of that stuff, Facebook, all of that stuff. All of that can be integrated in your app as well. So again, your app becomes the one-stop destination for all of your members to get everything about you digitally. Very, very powerful. And again, although you, as a part of our Express program, some things we've already engineered out and built for you. We have a library of design base points that you can start from, and what we do is we quickly start you from the base point. But then what we do is you submit to us your high quality graphics, your logos, that stuff, and then we bring your mobile app look and feel into the look and feel of your existing brand that you've already spent money, time, and effort on developing. So the best of best worlds, folks. We publish these apps at an incredibly rapid rate, and you get the best of all worlds. So is we also, in addition to your mobile app and publishing that app for you, getting that app published for you, in addition to doing all that work on your behalf, we also build and deliver to you. We also deliver to you an administrative console, that portal that allows you to log in and continually add and change data inside of your living app, your living mobile app. It's open, so you can constantly add content, change content, make changes, change look and feel if required. You can even add or remove features as required. And the magic of our administrative console is that it was designed in such a way to eliminate the need for you to have a technical background or be a technical person. It's basically point and click and very easy to follow along with or to get in there once you get it. So when we publish your app, we publish both of these things for you, and we give them for you at the same time. So the ongoing cost for that access, we host that administrative model on your behalf as well, and we support it technically for you. And that's $50 a month. And we have no contract, no long-term obligation. So it's very, as you can see there, it's very easy for you to get involved with these mobile apps. The only other additional cost that's optional is some people want to optimize their apps for the iPad experience. The iPad is kind of very unique in the world of mobile because of the high resolution screen being, that's one of the drivers. And there's some other things that are a little different between the iPhone and the iPad. But we can optimize your app, and a good chunk of this is visually, so that things are that we fully take advantage of that Retina display, that big Retina display. There's an extra $100 one-time fee for us doing that at setup. That's it. But the people that tend to see that as making sense are people that tend to really want to leverage images and video in their mobile app experience, and it's over-justifies that extra $100 purchase price. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm the person that invited you to this broadcast to get all your questions answered.